Juan Garcia is here.
The agreement between the agents of Juan Garcia and Barcelona over the contract is almost done.
And it's the start of a new era for Barcelona. For years, Barca relied on Marc-André Ter Stegen in between the sticks. At times, he was unbelievable. Other times, he was doing the mannequin challenge. And as time has gone by, it became obvious that a change was needed. Garcia is young, but has already established himself as one of the best goalies in La Liga. A shot-stopping machine who is also calm on the ball. A perfect keeper for the modern game. Barcelona didn't go out and sign some guy who's going to be the backup. They brought in the future. It's more than just a transfer, it's a fresh start. A chance to rebuild the wall at the back. The Ter Stegen era is coming to an end, and the Juan Garcia era is about to begin. It's actually quite impressive how quickly Barca moved on this deal. They identified a problem and quickly solved it. Surprising to see from the Barca board. I think even if you're Ter Stegen's biggest fan, you have to admit that a new goalie was needed. There is no doubt that the German has had some incredible years. Barca don't win the 2015 Champions League without him. They don't win the 2023 La Liga without him. I mean, seriously, when is the last time you saw a goalie be the player of the year for a league? Now, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be criticized, because he does. He has had some shockers. But there are people out there that are trying to rewrite history, when for many years, Ter Stegen and Messi were the only shining points of Barca. But this change is not because of people starting hashtag Ter Stegen out on Twitter. This was not a decision that was motivated by public opinion. The real reason is that according to many reports, the goalkeeping situation was an area the Flick and his staff identified as needing improvement. I also think that Barca remembered the last time a team signed Espanyol's best player, they won the Champions League. Yes, Madrid signed Joselu, and we all know the rest. When you look at the statistical difference between Ter Stegen and Juan Garcia, you understand why an upgrade was needed. I mean, this is sickening, guys. The only thing Ter Stegen beat him in is long passing percentage, and that's mainly due to the fact that he was on a Barca team that tried to play football, while Garcia was on an Espanyol team that tried to wrestle. So don't even let that one stat fool you. Juan Garcia is very good with the ball at his feet, probably due to the fact that when he was playing football at the local level as a child, he was initially an outfield player. That's pretty much how it goes for kids. Everyone starts up front, and then depending on how good you are, you either stay as an attacker or they slowly move you back towards the defense. Unless you're the fat kid and then you automatically go in goal. He went through local academies like Manresa and CF Dam, slowly learning the ropes, before eventually joining Espanyol's youth setup at just 15 years old. He wasn't a star right away, as you can expect, but what stood out was his attitude. Even though he was very young, he was already calm, he was focused, and he was always looking for ways to improve. By 2019, he made his debut with Espanyol B, and 2 years later, he got his first taste of first team action in the Copa del Rey. But it wasn't a straight rise to the top. For a long time, Juan Garcia was on the bench, but he trained hard and waited for his chance. That chance finally came after Espanyol got relegated in 2023. With the club down in the second division, Garcia was handed the #1 shirt, and he never looked back. By March of 2024, he had fully earned the trust of everyone around the club. He played in 21 league games, and he kept 12 clean sheets. A fantastic record considering how shocking Espanyol's defense is. Garcia's saves are what allowed Espanyol to fight their way back to La Liga through the playoffs. The fans saw how good he was as they voted him player of the month 3 times in a row, in March, April, and May, and they even named him Espanyol's player of the season. In just 1 year, he had gone from this quiet kid who was the second choice goalie to club hero. He was Espanyol's guardian in goal. Then Juan Garcia stepped into La Liga for the 2024-2025 season, and many people wondered if he could still perform after making the jump from the second division of Spain to the highest level. But it didn't take long for him to silence those doubts. Right from the start, he was incredible. Week after week, he was making these jaw-dropping saves, diving, blocking shots, saving opportunities that looked impossible to stop. It's a breath of fresh air, considering Ter Stegen made some very savable shots look impossible to save. Everyone around La Liga had noticed just how good Juan Garcia was, and they were talking about him as if he was one of, if not the best goalkeeper in the entire league. At a minimum, he was in the top 3 with Oblak and Courtois. And to be fair, those two had a much better defense in front of them. At least Atletico Madrid did, Real Madrid, you can make the argument that their 2025 defense was about as good as Espanyol's. Because you see, Espanyol had one of the weakest defenses in the entire league. That meant that Garcia was getting peppered every single match. But instead of crumbling, he actually stepped up. He ended the 2025 season with 145 saves in total, the most in the league. And I'm telling you, these weren't easy saves. He was keeping Espanyol in games that they had no business staying in. For example, in just his second La Liga match, he made 7 saves to earn a clean sheet away at Atletico Madrid. And then a few days later, he helped Espanyol win their first match of the season against Rayo Vallecano. Look at how well he played against Real Madrid and Real Betis. Against Madrid, he made 10 saves, and Espanyol still got hammered 4-1. Against Betis, he made 10 saves again, and he saved a penalty, and they still lost. He was the only reason that Espanyol's games weren't turning into tennis scores. Barca saved this guy's life, man. I don't know how he didn't crash out after every single game. He was the one that gave Espanyol any chance of ever being in a game. Perfect example came on February 1st, 2025, when Espanyol beat Real Madrid 1-0. How did they do it? Because Juan Garcia turned into Superman. He made 7 incredible saves, and no matter what Real Madrid did, they could not get by him. He was so good that his own coach compared his impact for Espanyol to what Messi was doing for Barca. That's how special this guy is. And then in April, he pulled off a save that fans are still talking about. The leaping one-handed stop in the 80th minute against Valencia. The save was so good that even the Valencia fans stood up to applaud him. They called him the white and blue angel. Highlight saves ended up becoming a regular thing for Garcia. He won La Liga Save of the Month for both February and March, the first player ever to win a back-to-back. I mean, one of these saves was crazy. A lightning-fast reaction to a powerful shot from Sevilla's Lucky Bacchio. He also saved 2 penalties in a single game against Mallorca. I mean, what did I tell you guys? This guy's cool, he's calm, and he's so clutch. I don't think he'll ever be as calm as Szczesny though. Szczesny was like the guy who puts in his 2-week notice at his job and then spends the entire 2 weeks just chilling. But he came out of retirement, smoked cigs, and won 3 trophies for the biggest club in the world. Anyways, by the end of the 2025 La Liga season, Espanyol fans knew the truth. Juan Garcia had saved them. This is not a symbolic sentence. He literally saved them. It was thanks to his saves at the end of the season that the club officially avoided relegation. This is why they were parading him around the stadium like he was Superman, because he was. He wasn't just a goalie anymore, he was their literal hero. If he hadn't played as well as he did, these guys would have been relegated months ago. They were conceding goals for fun when he was playing like Team of the Year Neuer from FIFA 17. So imagine if he wasn't there. Espanyol would have been relegated in February like Southampton in the Premier League. Garcia's season wasn't just good, it was unforgettable. Despite playing for a team that has more holes in their defense than Swiss cheese, he showed that he really is the perfect modern day goalie. Quick off his line, brave, calm under pressure. Barca are finally going to have a goalie that actually dominates the box. Because I don't care even if you are the biggest Ter Stegen supporter, you cannot deny that this man was glued to the goal line. He rarely, if ever, came out, and when he did, he never looked confident in actually getting the ball. Meanwhile, Garcia at 6'3" dominates his box. He punches the ball with actual confidence. He catches crosses before they cause trouble. The way I'm describing him, I feel like Georgienko glazing Andrew Tate.
He's super tall, bro, and like it's super intimidating when he has so many bodyguards around him. And he came in, I was so nervous, but when he stuck his hand out and smiled, I felt safe.
His biggest strength is obviously his shot stopping. When a striker breaks through one-on-one, Garcia doesn't panic. He stays big, he reads the situation, and he actually saves it. Time after time, he stopped what looked like certain goals against Espanyol. A big reason for that is that his reflexes are lightning quick. That's what has allowed him to make so many clutch saves. Because when you look at his Espanyol career, when the pressure's been the highest, he's usually shined the most. He's the kind of goalie who can make the one save that changes everything. A draw becomes a win. A loss becomes a point. And Barca really need that, especially since they don't concede that many shots. All they need is a goalie who can save them in that one time where they get exposed. But what really sets him apart and why he's such a great fit for Barcelona is how good he is with the ball at his feet. He isn't just a keeper, he's a part of the build-up. When other teams press, he doesn't just boot the ball away. He stays calm, he finds a teammate, and he tries to actually help the attack. His decision making is also great because he knows when to play short and medium passes, but also knows when to launch it long. Now with Barca, he'll probably keep the ball more. At Espanyol, he was forced to launch long balls to start a counterattack because those guys can't string together 2 passes. And there's one more thing. Without the ball, Juan Garcia plays like an extra defender, a proper sweeper keeper. He reads the game well, he comes out of his box, and actually stops through balls before they become dangerous. He's always ready to clean up behind the back line, which Barcelona desperately need from their goalie because of how high of a line Flick likes to play. Having a goalie who is both comfortable on the ball and knows when to come out and sweep is so important to Flick's Barcelona side because it makes the defense just that much more solid. Think about it, all that space in behind the back line is non-existent if you have a goalie who knows how to eat up that space quickly. Now, as I was researching more about Juan Garcia, I realized something that made me respect him even more. He isn't complacent at all. Despite all the praise he has received, he has openly talked about how he has recognized areas in his game that he needs to improve. This is a quote from him to Deportivo Mundo, talking about all the things that he feels he can do better. It's a great mentality to have, especially after years of seeing Ter Stegen thinking that he was perfect and didn't need to improve anything. Listen, I don't want to bash Ter Stegen, but this whole mentality of him that he never wants to compete for the #1 spot and that he should get it automatically is a common theme in his career that I just never understood. And now he definitely isn't going to be happy. Especially with a World Cup year, he wants to play regular first team football. But this signing was very much a reminder to him that he still has to fight for a spot. It's not a guarantee anymore. Which honestly, guys, isn't a bad thing at all. Almost all of Ter Stegen's best seasons have come when he's had good competition. 2015, when he was Barca's Champions League goalie, he was a beast, made the save of the season, and in that year he was competing with Bravo, so naturally it pushed him to get better. Then in 2019, Ter Stegen's backup was Silicen, a good goalie who pushed Ter Stegen to be better. Competition makes you less complacent, which is again why it was so weird that Ter Stegen basically wanted a guarantee that he would play or he was willing to leave. That's what he did in 2016 to get the #1 spot, and Barca ended up caving and getting rid of Bravo. Well, he can't do that anymore. Flick and his team have realized an upgrade was finally needed. In fact, according to the reports that I have seen, many are suggesting that Ter Stegen might not even be in Barca's future plan, that they're planning on going with Garcia as the #1 option, with Szczesny as the backup. There were even some reports that suggested that Ter Stegen might be the mole leaking info, and that's one of the reasons that Barca are fine with him leaving, but again, those are just rumors. I don't know how much of it is true. What we do know though is that it only took Flick 1 year at Barca to realize a keeper upgrade was needed. Ter Stegen as a pure shot stopper has not been what he used to be, especially in the Champions League, and there's no hiding from it anymore. We have over a decade of games to look at. Add in the fact that he's recovering from a major injury, and it felt like the perfect time to bring in someone that can reinforce the goalkeeper position, not just for now, but for the future, especially if they want to win the Champions League. We have seen how important it is to have an elite goalie in that competition. Courtois, Donnarumma, Sommer, Alisson. High-stake matches are often decided by a single moment, and having a keeper who can pull off a game-winning save is invaluable. It's priceless. Garcia has done it time and time again for Espanyol, and now he's going to have an infinitely better defense in front of him. Now, Ter Stegen isn't the only person to be bummed out by this transfer. Espanyol fans are pretty heartbroken too. Garcia wasn't just another player for them, he was one of their own. He came through their academy, spent years at the club, and was seen as the future. He celebrated with the fans when they avoided relegation. He said he loved the club. So when the news broke that he was leaving, and not just leaving, but joining Barcelona, their biggest rivals, it hit hard. Espanyol fans are having a meltdown. It very much is a betrayal. For many of them, Garcia has gone from a hero to villain overnight. Now they're gonna have to watch him in a Barca shirt, winning not just games, but trophies. Barcelona fans, meanwhile, are so happy. They have found their goalie for years to come, because the keeper position is historically one where the player gets better with age. We have seen it so many times before. As goalies get more and more experience, they become so much better. And the fact that Juan Garcia is already so good at such a young age, it means that his development can be exponential. Juan Garcia has all the tools needed. He's already adapted to La Liga. He has already proven himself as one of the best that Spain has to offer. Now, of course, there will be pressure, expectations. With Espanyol, there were no eyes on him. Nobody cares what those guys do as long as they don't get relegated. But with Barca, there is real pressure. Winning and trophies is seen as the bare minimum. Every loss feels like the end of the world. But if there's a player who can handle it all, it would be him. If he plays the way he has so far, there is no reason he can't become a legend in Barcelona's goal. But if he doesn't play well, maybe I will be back here analyzing why #GarciaOut is trending on Twitter. Cause at Barca, you can go from hero to villain real quick. And that's what happened to Ter Stegen. To see how he went from being called the Berlin Wall to being called Ter Statue, you have to check out this video right here.